Like and subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon to get new video updates.
Domestic transparency may curb resurgent trade protectionism. In the 6 decades following World War II, governments gradually lowered tariffs and agreed on rules that would allow trade and investment to thrive. If ever there was a golden age of globalization, it was the roughly 15 years between 1993 and 2007. Protectionism was seen as regressive, and the convergence of multilateralism, technological advances, political liberalization, the resurgence of China and the end of the Cold War, ushered in larger markets, economies of scale, cross-border production sharing, and unprecedented increases in trade, investment and economic growth, risks of supply chain interdependence, and the strategic implications of retreating from technological leadership. Protectionism is shedding its stigma and rebranding it as a tool to make domestic economies more secure and resilient by a ramping down of production, the incubation and nurturing of domestic technology champions, and the realization of broader industrial policy goals, suggests that the golden age of globalization has given way to what is perceived as the imperative of great power rivalry. Considerations of economic optima and fidelity to the rules of international agreements have pushed national security, technological supremacy, and other geopolitical goals to the background. It is not hard to understand why the U.S. government prioritizes strategic goals. Finally, the United States' commitment to the multilateral trading system was driven by and reinforced by urgent strategic considerations such as preventing communism and Soviet expansionism. In addition, it is the responsibility of every government to protect its people and to preserve and enhance its benefits for posterity. Regardless of whether one thinks it makes sense to use trade policy to achieve security-oriented goals, a broader acceptance of state intervention for these ends risks opening the door to any kind of petty protectionism. In reality, the U.S. has no monolithic interest in the outcome of a trade dispute or trade agreement. Manufacturers' self-interest seeks to minimize foreign competition, while consumer self-interest seeks to maximize competition and choice. Steelmakers want high tariffs on imported steel, but that drives up production costs for steel-consuming manufacturers. Unions are trying to limit foreign competition in government procurement, while the Buy American rules they employ ensure taxpayers get shoddy infrastructure at astronomical costs. Protectionism is a domestic policy choice that imposes domestic costs on the domestic economy. Yet protectionism is often the default choice because policymakers hear disproportionately from stakeholders seeking these outcomes. This information asymmetry arises from a motivational asymmetry to mobilize the resources needed to influence outcome. Protection seekers tend to be smaller, more organized, more coherent, and better able to assess the costs of seeking protection and the value of its payoffs than the different groups on which these costs are imposed. Facilitating this injustice is a lack of domestic institutions committed to highlighting the benefits of trade and the costs of protectionist measures being taken or contemplated. Even among the internationalist architects of the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, the rules-based trading system was seen as a necessary but insufficient condition for curbing protectionism. The importance of trade and the benefits of openness would have to be bolstered at home by trusted domestic institutions, or international rules would be seen as the dictates of a faceless foreign bureaucracy that undermines national sovereignty by promoting an undesirable globalist agenda. The lack of a domestic reinforcement of the virtues of trade, it has been suggested, and recent history seems to confirm it, would breed and nurture supporters of protectionism. These interventions include the introduction or expansion of domestic subsidy programs, export promotion subsidies, export restrictions, general tariff increases, trade remedies, restrictions on foreign government procurement bids, restrictions on foreign investment, and several other categories. And how did things develop? During the golden age of globalization, the real value of trade increased by 6.8% per year, compared with a 2.6% annual increase in the 15 years since. Real foreign direct investment flows increased by 21.3% per year during the golden age, but have declined by 1.3% per year in the 15 years since. Real global GDP grew at 3.4% per year during the golden age, but at only 2.5% per year since. And trade's share of GDP grew at 3.2% annually during the golden age, but has grown 0.0% annually over the 15 years since. These comparisons show that there are compelling reasons for skepticism about protectionism, which should place national transparency protocols on everyone's good government.